Chief Futurist at Futurist.com, researcher, keynote speaker, and author of Facing Our Futures, Nikolas Badminton, joining us on Canada Now for his weekly visit. Nick, this week we discuss the post-iPhone future, which very likely does not include the Humane AI pin.
It's really interesting. So a couple of ex-designers from Imran and Bethany from Apple formed a new company called Humane, raised a couple of $100 million or a little bit more than that for a really noble idea, an idea that maybe we spend too much time connected to our phones visually, heads down, looking at social media, connecting through that medium too much. Maybe we need to look up and enjoy the world. Maybe we need to be free from those chains of servitude to the big tech companies like Apple and Samsung and Facebook and whatever, right? So they developed this product called Humane over the last few years, and they launched it last year, kind of with some kludgy demos. But the idea is you've got this very small device that looks pretty cool, very much looks like it's in the Apple family in a way. That you can basically use to capture photos and ask questions to be a useful AI assistant. They call it the AI pin, right? Powered by ChatGPT, amongst other things as well. Comes with it's $700 US. Comes with a subscription to be able to connect to the internet, and you can connect to Tidal, the music service that isn't the most popular music service in the world. Connects to the internet. Could be quite useful. And they did some demonstrations. It looked a little bit painful, but hey, maybe they can deliver on this promise. And this week, a number of influencers like Marcus Brownlee, publications like Engadget, and a few others actually got to spend a couple of weeks with the product. And it's been nothing but an absolute dumpster fire of an experience, right? The promise was so noble. The experience is so bad because, relying on internet connectivity through a mobile network is going to be slow. Understanding that, it's really difficult for AI systems today to be correct. It is a real challenge. Lower quality video, only in square sort of format, lower quality imagery, when we're sort of already used to devices that can capture all of that. I mean, ostensibly, the Humane device is like an iPhone. Well, sorry, it's like an Apple Watch Ultra with a camera.
Yes, and it
without a screen.
projects.
Yeah.
The closest thing it has to a screen is it'll project.
Yeah.
You'll say "show me," and it'll project whatever it is you want to see.
So, and this is the misnomer, right? This is like we don't have a screen, but we've got this kind of janky laser projector that we project onto your hand with a strange factor of navigation and projection. It doesn't work very well in like highlight conditions. Like shows you images that you just took, but in sort of a grainy, sort of green screen. It's a weird mix. And you read the patents, and I read the patents a couple of years ago. It's kind of interesting. It could help people, in sort of work situations and personal situations from a health perspective, could help people be free. One of the biggest missteps of the device is that they do not connect to a phone to do the processing connection and all that. I actually think that would have been really smart. And I think it would have been a good insight to understand that everyone in the world is going to have a phone, and that to have this could actually free you from the idea of having to reach for that phone in those moments that are important to you. But then at that point, it's so close to a smartwatch that there's no differentiation. So what we've got now is like the PR team internally at Humane must be just nosediving. There's nothing. No one said a single good thing. There's like people saying what I'm saying. It's noble. It's an interesting idea. But I don't think I've ever seen a wearable product, even things like Google Glass or whatever, ever be released and be panned so hard in the press. It's killed the product. It's over. It's over for that company. And unless there's some sort of technological act of God that comes in and fixes all the problems, and suddenly there's this killer use case and striking endorsements and people sort of U-turn. I think you've got a company that's literally going to be sold in a fire sale for a couple of its patents, and that's going to be done for them.
Wouldn't there have been some forgiveness or maybe some expectations in that, all right, this is the first thing that they're putting out of this idea? Because, like, as you talked about, noble idea, and I think there's some good stuff there in terms of the ideas that come along with it. It's just the execution hasn't panned out. The actual technology hasn't panned out. Doesn't this feel like this is a good idea with bad tech that maybe take 2, take 3, take 4, that this is the start of what could be the actual gadget that will end up working? You don't think so? This isn't the first evolution of something to come?
This is not even the first evolution of this idea.
Mm-hmm.
The first evolution of this idea was the smartphone, right?
Well,
But
that was a handheld device.
Sure.
Like this gadget is meant to do away with the smartphone. All the things you do to call up stuff on your smartphone, you do it with AI. You talk to them and they do it for you.
But it fails because, you know, you can't access the web to like browse websites. So there's a piece of functionality that's useful in daily life. Reading emails is an absolute pain. In fact, you can't connect to your email in there. And it's all architected for this idea that you want to be free from that. But we really want productivity. And, you know, 2007, Steve Jobs launched the iPhone, right? 2008, he launched the App Store. The app economy is huge. There's no apps. There's a hub for information and pictures and the such. Like for Humane, it's like Humane is not Apple. Companies like Apple and Google do not release products like this because they don't fundamentally meet the needs of users, and it's difficult to do. This is why companies like Apple spent so many years getting to the point of like wanting to release something like the Apple Vision Pro, which is early in the journey, I think, of what it's going to be in terms of a glasses form factor, access to data, but it works. If Humane wanted to launch this and it worked well, and it worked well, not even absolutely seamlessly, like 100% of the time, but like, you know, it worked 90% of the time, occasional glitches, whatever, there's forgiveness. This is so bad, and the reviews have been so panning that this has just meant that people have found it difficult to do what they need to do, even within the promise of what Humane says that it can do. So, you know, it's interesting. So wearable technology has been around since the 80s. In fact, the godfather of wearable technology was at MIT, and he's from Toronto. His name is Professor Steve Mann. You can see his office. It's just opposite the AGO. You can see it there. His lab is there, and you know, and he pioneered, you know, direct to eye sort of imagery and HDR and all kinds of sensors and devices and communicators, whatever, since the 80s. And now we're in a world where we are obsessed with smartphones and apps and platforms and whatever. Where's the application? You know, we're in a world where it's like brain-computer interfaces here, and that's a little strange, but it's got medical application. Cool. It does one or two things really well today. That's useful. You've got a phone, a smartphone, Apple, Samsung, or whatever. It does a multitude of things incredibly. You can watch a movie. You can literally do everything you can do on a laptop or a computer with it. And then you've got these devices that pop out that do a fraction of what things that people are used to do, and we're expected to suddenly embrace a whole new life of almost like, you know, from digital obesity to digital starvation. Again, noble, but we're in a point where if you buy a car, it doesn't start 8 times out of 10, you don't drive the car.
Yes, yeah, very good example. It is efficiency that light that we're following in terms of new tech and what is going to be of consumer interest moving forward for everything we have to do to complete a task with the smartphone. And again, I hear you on the smartphone. I'm with you every step of the way. But the steps one takes to complete a task on a smartphone is that going to be all but wiped out by AI in the
No.
new in the AI hardware revolution?
No.
No.
No, I mean, so there's something true. We're going to have hardware-based machine learning. It's going to be embedded in many of the devices, and there's analog computing, which uses very low power that is going to operate there. It's going to operate within service ecosystems, mobile ecosystems. It's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be useful. It's going to have very narrow use cases. It's going to be used. Let's not get things wrong about what AI can and can't do. AI can process and understand and find patterns within very, very large data sets that can be incredibly useful and applied in the context of medical, in the context of planning, in the context of engineering and whatever. Let's not think that we can just like wheel out the words artificial intelligence and say it's going to change everything, because we're not at that point. Jan LeCun, like the head of AI research at Meta, says it very, very well, and I say this in my keynotes.
Yep.
To get to godlike AI, we have to get through dog-like AI, and we're very much in dog-like AI. You know, go and fetch the stick, does it very well. Like puts his hand in and puts his paw in my hand, does that very well. Shows me love, does that very well. You know, go and make me a lasagna, does not do that very well. You know, go and build me a complicated, you know, economics modeling, you know, spreadsheet, does not do that very well. And, you know, there's lots of thought. I set a thought experiment yesterday in social media, and it was like, take the critical parts of your business. And if there was a platform today that, you know, powered by AI could do, you know, accounting, marketing, you know, writing executive reports, whatever, would you wholesale farm that out? No one will. So, you know, it's my job to really bring some tempering to the situation and understand that I'm not just going to kill ideas, and I'm not going to like throw products like Humane under the train
Yeah.
because, you know, I don't think it's good for humanity or anything like that. I'm going to look at it critically of whether it can deliver any value at all. And there's a lot about things like ChatGPT or Bard and whatever that can do some cool stuff. It's very basic, it's very derivative, lacks diversity of thought, it's kind of colonial in a technological sense. And we're a long, long way away from having a fully autonomous life where we can opt out of doing anything that requires our cognitive ability. So, you know, we live in an
Well,
ecosystem of humans and technology, and the technology has to be complementary to us and not a replacement of what we don't like to do, right?
right. Okay. So with this swing and a miss by Humane,
Yeah.
looking at the big picture moving forward, and it's easy for me to say because I'm not investing in this with my time or my money
Yeah.
or what have you. But do we need companies like Humane to swing and miss so that we can move forward? Like, can you look back at the success of technology and say, well, that failure and that failure and that failure led to that success and that success. So we need those failures moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's important in the corpus of like history of developing technology. I think it's useful references, but this gets this gets filed under failed projects, and no company that's got millions of dollars in investment and VCs sort of knocking down their doors needs to be in that situation right now where they've made such big promises. And you know, there's going to be a fire sale. I think within 18 months, 2 years, they're either going to withdraw, apologize, and then have to deliver a miracle, which is likely going to be a device with a screen, or they're literally going to have a fire sale, get rid of the patents. Whatever happened with a company called Magic Leap that said that they were going to deliver incredible cinematic augmented reality experiences. And the truth is, with that technology, and probably similar to this humane technology, is when you build prototypes, the prototypes are very, very large. And when you start to shrink them, it becomes very, very difficult. There's lots of compromises in terms of the software you can run, the processing you've got access to, the connectivity you can achieve. These are things that Apple have achieved incredibly well, and Google and Samsung and whatever. Someone like Humane just doesn't have the powerhouses behind them to be able to bridge the gap. Someone like Magic Leap raised billions of dollars, and they're still just a run-of-the-mill augmented reality headset. But the promise that they made was based on a piece of hardware that was truly incredible, but couldn't be shrunk down to size to actually work at a human scale.
Mm. Well, a chief futurist at futurist.com, researcher, keynote speaker, author of Facing Our Futures, Nikolas Badminton. We'll see what's ahead in the post iPhone future, and if it does in fact include a screen, and if Humane is a part of it, doesn't look like it right now. Nick, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Cheers, Jeff.